to dress up, knock on your neighbor's door, and scream those magic words. Are you ready for some football? Well, boys and ghouls, it's party time. Put on your holiday best, because tonight we're going to a very, very special place.
Beware the terror dome. Enter at your own risk.
Police Chief Benson has asked me to tell you to stay in your home. Stay in your home.
Over 2 tons of muscle will claw at each other's throats. Blood-curdling screams from over 60,000 bodies. It's a night of spine-tingling action, teeth-chattering thrills, and hair-raising excitement.
Whoa! Wow, talk about your bad hair day. And who, may I ask, are the special guests?
They're the infamous monsters of the Midway. They're big, they're bad, they're the Bears!
Oh, please. They are just a cute little bunch of teddy bears. Who's hosting this shindig anyway?
They're the denizens of the Black and Blue Division. The notorious Purple People Eaters.
People Eaters. Now, is that low-fat or high-fiber?
Tonight, it's the Bears and the Vikings.
Okay, calm down. Is everybody ready? All right, boys, let's get it on.
It's ABC's NFL Monday Night Football.
Naval teams in Minnesota.
Well, it's Monday night and we're ready to strike. Our special forces are in full flight. It's a classic battle between 2 old foes. The Vikings lock horns with Chicago. We gotta get ready. We gotta get right. The Bears are out to scare Minnesota tonight. So get ready. I mean, get ready. Are you ready for some football? A Monday night party. We got Frank and Al and Dan. They're gonna get it kick-started. Lynn and the crew's all set. The crowd is psyched, 'cause all my rowdy friends are back from Monday night.
A pre-Halloween moon hovers high over Minneapolis. The ghouls and the goblins are already about. And inside the Metrodome, it'll be a noisy crowd. Always noisy here, but tonight a colorful one, as a lot of pre-Halloween celebration takes place on Monday Night Football, the Bears and the Vikings. Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf. A good NFC Central Division matchup for you tonight. The Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings coming into tonight at 5-2, well rested after their bye week, and they feel well positioned to make a move on Green Bay in the Central Division of the NFC. Green Bay, of course, is 7-1. The Vikings know they must win tonight, but they also know that they were the one team so far to beat the Green Bay Packers. Meanwhile, the Chicago Bears opened our Monday Night Football season September the 2nd, and it was so much promise for the Bears. It was Dave Wanstead's team all the way. He had put it together, and all of a sudden key injuries had turned what was a lot of promise at the beginning of the season, Al, into a real crisis time here at midseason.
It has, Frank, and you'll recall that Dave said as the season began, he said all the pieces are in place. Unfortunately, most of the pieces wound up in the training room and in the hospital. Number one, of course, was Eric Kramer, who had the breakout year, the career year last year. The quarterback got off to a shaky start this season. Played in 4 games, developed 2 herniated discs. He is gone for the season. That means 38-year-old Dave Craig guides them, playing with his 5th team in 6 years. Last year, Rashaan Salam, the rookie running back, gained over 1,000 yards. This year, he began the season hurt. He is still not 100%. They lost Raymond Harris earlier this year, the fullback. He is healthy, and he will be in the lineup tonight and will play a lot of tailback tonight. They really have to pick it up on the ground. The Bears are averaging less than 100 yards per game rushing, and the Chicago Bears have not scored a rushing touchdown this season. Crossroads game tonight for Chicago. They lose, they might as well begin to think about 97. If they win, the candle continues to flicker. And Dan, Dave Wannstedt likes this matchup. He feels the Bears match up very well against the Vikings.
And that is a concern to Dennis Green and the Vikings, Al, because they know that the Bears really play them well. It's what Dennis Green has been telling his ball club all week. The Bears know how to beat us. They won both matchups last year. The Vikings barely eked out a 6-point win earlier this year. Dennis Green is very explicit in saying we need to have this game become a track meet. We can't win a slugfest with the Chicago Bears. And who wouldn't want to be in a track meet when you have Warren Moon, a quarterback? He's throwing passes to Jake Reed and to Chris Carter. And in Robert Smith, their fourth-year running back, they've got a guy who's finally healthy and making a run at the NFL rushing title. One thing, though, for the Minnesota Vikings, they are being penalized a lot, 22 times more than their opposition. This has to change if the Vikings are to be successful in the second half of the season. Down on the field is our partner, Lynn Swan, and he's got the head man for the Vikes, Dennis Green.
Thank you very much, Dan. Dan's already talked about how the Chicago Bears make you a little nervous because they know how to beat your football team. What specifically makes you nervous about them?
Well, I think the fact that we have not been playing as well on offense, and that's something we have to do. We're 7-3 against the Chicago Bears. When we win against Chicago Bears, we have very good offensive productivity. That's what we need tonight.
You want to stop the run, but at the same time, if you do that, you force him to go to their strength, Curtis Conway. How do you get it accomplished?
Well, I think you got to stop the run. Their strength is running the football with the big physical offensive linemen. I think we got to take him out of the run game, turn it into a wide-open offensive game.
Coach, thank you very much. Good luck to you tonight. Al?
All right, thank you, Lynn. So the Metrodome in downtown Minneapolis, the site for this game, which marks the halfway point of the season for each of these two teams. As Todd Sauerbrunn gets set to kick off, he's had a fine year punting and a spotty year kicking off. And Qadre Ismail, number 82, along with Ant Lee, 32, are back to receive for Minnesota. Ismail, the younger brother of Rocket Ismail, formerly of the Raiders and now with the Panthers. Crowd noise building to a crescendo as the Vikings try to make it 8 straight wins at the Metrodome. An angled kick and a good kick because it pins Ismail near the sideline at the 4, and he brings it out to the 24-yard line. Tackled by John Mangum. Warren Moon, at the age of 39, won't be able to say that much longer. His birthday, November 18th. He'll be 40 in 3 weeks. 5 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Robert Smith out of the backfield, having a great year with Evans, the fullback. Carter and Reed are the wideouts. Jordan is the tight end. Good offensive line. Stussy, McDaniel, Christie, Jarek, and Stringer. Randall McDaniel, the left guard, 64, has started the last 7 Pro Bowls. And they begin in a double tight end set. Put Greg DeLong in motion and give it to Robert Smith, who tries to cut it back, and a good tackle by Marty Carter, the safety, who penetrates to stop him as he takes the handoff. Defensively now, Spellman, Simpson, Flanagan, and Fontenot. Zorich was hurt in preseason, gone for the season. The linebackers on the outside, Kane and Smith, and in the inside, Brian Cox, picked up in the offseason from Miami. Walt Harris, their #1 draft choice from Mississippi State, and Wolford at the corners. Carter and Carrier, a very good pair of safeties. And on 2nd down 9, Minnesota has to take a timeout. So a stumbling offensive start. As 2 plays into the game, the Vikings are forced to use a timeout. The offensive coordinator, an ignominious beginning as his team has to burn a timeout.
Well, they had the wrong people in. 1 came out, 2 went in. They started counting noses, and they knew they had too many, and so Warren Moon had no other choice.
10, 13, and 14 points, their offensive production the last 3 games. I'd say that's trouble scoring.
2nd down and 9 now from the 25-yard line on the game's opening drive, and Moon's first pass complete. Jake Reed hauls it in. That's a first down. He's tackled by Wolford. It's a gain of 11 up to the 36.
Now, Donnell Wolford is a great cover man, but he's only 5'9", and these outside receivers from Minnesota, and Jake Reed is 6'3", Chris Carter is 6'3", Donnell Wolford, who didn't play last week because of a hamstring injury, could have a very busy night tonight, because Walt Harris, the rookie first-round draft pick for the Bears, on the other side is a little bigger, a little stronger, and he is really turning into a good corner.
First and 10 at the 35-yard line. Moon with a short drop and then throws a quick out. That's caught by Jake Reed on the other side. And there is Walt Harris to push him out of bounds at the 42-yard line. It's a gain of, call it 7, up to the 43.
You mentioned Walt Harris, Frank. There's a good look at what type of closure he has. He's giving Reed a pretty good cushion, but once the ball's in the air, look how quickly he's on him and launches himself into Reed. That's a good attacking style of a tackle by Walt Harris. He's got some size, though. He's up in that 195-pound range.
2nd and 3. Vikings at their own 43. And Moon locks in again on Jake Reed as he tries to hit him with his 3rd pass in a row. Incomplete here. Harris again with the coverage. It'll be 3rd and 3.
I think it's about this time, Frank, that Chris Carter says, okay, enough of that. I've been a decoy for 3 plays. You can throw it my way now.
Well, actually, Reed was open, and Moon just didn't deliver the ball.
Chris Carter had 122 receptions last year. He's not on that type of a pace coming into this game. He's caught 38, but he wants the ball coming his direction every time.
3rd and 3. They have Ampley, the 3rd down back in the slot, and Robert Smith in the backfield, and they give it to Smith on a draw, and he gets knocked down at the 45-yard line, very close to a first down. Tackled there by Barry Minter. As we pull back, you can see where the marker is, and the spot, they'll spot it just across the 45-yard line, the nose of the ball on the green, but they appear to be a little short. There is Chris Zorich, the defensive tackle. We spoke of him earlier, hurt in preseason, gone for the season. As he looks on, you can see where they spot the ball. They had to get it about 6 more inches for a first down.
I would call that an absolutely perfect spot by the officiating crew. That is the exact spot where the ball touched the ground.
And Tom White, the referee tonight, showing you just how much they need. And it's too early to gamble, so in comes the punting unit.
Boy, the crowd sure is in a gambling mood, aren't they? They're booing.
This is Halloween.
Whoa. A little testy here in Minneapolis. They're booing the Vikings already for not going for a first down from their own 45. A little bold this early in the ballgame.
Mitch Berger to punt. Berger averaging 41.1 this year, about 2 yards less than the league average. And Bobby Ingram, the Penn State rookie wide receiver, it's a wobbly kick, bouncing at the 25-yard line, but it takes a terrific Minnesota hop. And the Vikings down it at the 11-yard line. Hardly a thing of beauty, but 46 yards. It works with 12:16 to go in the period. No score. Raymond Harris, Simpson and Conway the wideouts, Jennings the tight end. Bears up front, Peck, Perry, Jerry Fontenot, the rookie, Chris Valario, and James Williams. Chicago's first offensive play from the 11-yard line. Gray gets good protection and finds his favorite receiver, Curtis Conway. And for Conway, that is catch number 43. In this, the 8th game of the year. Defensively for the Vikes, Smith, Tuaolo, the great John Randall, and Derek Alexander. Good front four. Talley, Jeff Brady, and the former Cowboy Dixon Edwards are the linebackers. And in the secondary, Fuller and Washington at the corners. Griffith and Orlando Thomas, who had 9 interceptions as a rookie last season, only 1 this year, are the safeties. 2nd and 1 from the 21-yard line, and Salam has trouble getting started and gets taken down at the line of scrimmage by Orlando Thomas. And there's some question as to how healthy Salam is as he gets into it with Thomas. Rashawn keeps telling Wantz that he's fine, but nobody in Chicago really believes him. He started the season, as you look at Robert Green, who's also hurt, Rashawn with knee and hamstring injuries, and he just doesn't have it so far.
In the final preseason game against Kansas City, he went down with the knee and a hamstring, and he's been slow coming back. At least you saw him covering up the football there. That's been one of his big problems.
But don't you get the impression if he'd have just lowered his shoulder, he would have picked up a first down?
3rd and 1. The Vikings have been very tough on 3rd and 1 this year. Not this time. Salam gets a big hole and exploits it and gets tackled by Griffith as he breaks one off the right side and a first down at the 34.
I think that was Salam jumping up and down and say, hey, I can do it, I can do it. And maybe he just really kind of needs a couple of plays to assure himself that he can do it.
Well, he gets a great down block by Big Cat Williams, and then a good trap by Todd Perry, the other guard.
But a good burst, too, right through the hole. That's what he needed.
This is a fine offensive line for the Chicago Bears. They led the league with the fewest number of sacks last year, and they've become a very effective run-blocking unit.
1st and 10 from the 33-yard line. Fake draw, and then Craig gets buried by Robert Griffith on a safety blitz.
Very timely blitz by the Vikings. Bears had 3 men in the pattern. They just could not account for all of them, and Griffith was all alone.
It's play action passing. Watch the fake to the right. When the blitz comes from the back side of a play action pass, it is a perfect blitz. There was no one to account for Griffith. That's just a beautifully called play by Foge Fazio. And bad luck for the Bears that they were play actioning away from the blitz.
On 2nd and 17, Salam tries to penetrate the middle, and Derek Alexander has him in a neck hold.
Boy, that's a strange call on 2nd and 17. Not even a draw play, not even a fake of a pass. You hand off. Very conservative on the part of Dave Wanstead.
Nine and a half minutes left in the opening quarter. No score.
It's a simple handoff, and
Derek Alexander
crashing down the line right there.
Not a real big defensive end. He's tall and rangy, but at 270 pounds, not a lot of lead in his pants. It all has to be quickness and movement with a guy that light.
3rd down and 16. A lot of ground to pick up. Craig going deep, and it is picked off as the pass hung, and it's intercepted by Orlando Thomas. Conway going to step on the corner, but Thomas with a responsibility to go over and help out, and that's exactly what he did. With 8:58 to go in the quarter, Minnesota has the ball.
Welcome to Freedom in the Air, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places. In Week 8, the skies opened up and brought down a torrent of great catches. But what passing attacks stormed back to overcome a 21-point deficit? Stay tuned.
I've been around this land of ours from sea to shining sea. And if it stands for anything, it's that every man is free. Free to roam from city to city, to ride the open range. Free to come and go at will, to grab hold of the reins. But if you want to see the country in its glory and its pride, you've got to have a trusty mount that's always ready to ride.
The Bengals jumped out to a 21-point lead over the 49ers, but 3 touchdown passes helped give San Francisco a 28-21 win.
It's one of the most comfortable cars I've ever driven.
People love talking about Ford Taurus.
It's fun to drive. It really is.
With Taurus, you fit in no matter what size you are.
I'm big.
I'm surprised by how much room there is inside it.
Everybody in my family's big.
Just turn the wheel a fraction of an inch. The car responds.
There's a lot more room.
It's designed so I don't have to search for anything. The seats feel like they wrap around you.
It's a state-of-the-art car.
Ford Taurus, the best-selling car in America, starting at $18,545.
This car is a pleasure to drive.
I have fun.
Without food.
It's about survival now.
Without shelter.
We are going to make it.
Alyssa Milano, based on a true story. To Brave Alaska, Sunday on ABC.
Ron Turner talking to Dave Craig. A couple of interesting calls. Going with the straight handoff on 2nd and 17, and then throwing into double coverage and getting the interception on 3rd and long.
Now the Vikings have the ball for the 2nd time, and Moon hits Chris Carter, who makes his first catch of the night. Chris picks up 4 to the 35-yard line. Craig on the phone to Turner with 8:54 to go in the first quarter. No score, and another look at the interception by Orlando Thomas.
Well, one thing Orlando brings to the table, only a second-year player, is great range, and really no problem at all for him to get to the deep outside. Corey Fuller, number 27, played it beautifully. He knew he had help deep, and Orlando Thomas he was just where he was supposed to be. That's just a bad read by Dave Craig throwing into that coverage.
Without the help, Fuller might have got it.
2nd and 5. Vikings from the 36-yard line, and this is Amp Lee with a flag down. First penalty of the game as Lee takes it to the 37-yard line.
Well, there's Alonzo Spellman, a very excitable player for the Chicago Bears. He's bumping heads and talking stuff
against the Vikings for holding. So they'll march Minnesota back, and we can tell you that Monday Night Football from Minneapolis is being brought to you by Nicotrol. 6 weeks, 1 step. Take control with Nicotrol. Coca-Cola and the NFL Red Zone for fans who eat football, sleep football, and drink Coca-Cola. Taco Bell, there's nothing ordinary about it. Taco Bell. And Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Vikings backed up to their own 26-yard line. The call was against the guard, John Jurek. And it makes it 2nd down and 15 from the 26-yard line. Moon stepping away, pumps twice, and then finds Jake Reed, who gets open, and Reed takes it to the Chicago 37-yard line.
Donnell Wolford on the coverage again. He was caught in that twilight zone, too, of Warren Moon rolling out.
And another thing, when you said Warren Moon rolling out, the bye week really helped Warren Moon. He's been having ankle problems. His mobility has really been cut down. The bye came at a good time for Warren. Double pumps it, but on the move and on the move effectively.
Donnell Wolford caught him between the rock and the hard place. Do I come up and try to cover Warren Moon? Warren Moon pump fakes it. By the time he tried to recover, it was the completion.
No score, 7:45 to play in the first quarter. On first down, Robert Smith gets tackled by Brian Cox, who came knifing through. Brian picked up not only for what he can do physically, but as Dave Wanstead went after him very hard, recruited him in the offseason as an unrestricted free agent for what he could bring to the club emotionally. And it's a two-sided coin with Brian. He brings you a lot of positive stuff. He also brings you the type of stuff that gets him fined 80 grand.
He comes with baggage, but he also comes with a real nose for the football, and you saw a good look at it right there. He knows when to cut behind a block. It's the easiest way for a linebacker to take himself out of a play, cutting behind a block, but Cox does it often, and he does it successfully.
2nd and 10, and Moon, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Amp Lee. I think Moon thought he was going to cut off the pattern 2 or 3 yards before he actually did. 3rd down.
He just kind of got rid of that football, but you touched on something that's kind of important about Warren Moon, Dan. He had that week off. He's had trouble since the very beginning of the season with an ankle and a foot injury. And at 40 years old, you just don't, almost 40 years old, you just don't heal up that quickly. And he had that chance to get well, and he's ready to do what he did a year ago, and that is have a great second half of the season.
3rd and 10. Brian Billick had the look of a guy whose offense didn't have everybody on the same page. And Alonzo Spellman comes across the line and dumps Moon and then takes a shot. Well, that Andrew Jordan.
And that should be, if that's a flag against Spellman, Alonzo better watch it. You just can't headbutt somebody like that. That'll bring a flag if somebody sees you do that. Not sure if there was movement in the Viking offensive line or not.
Bob Slowick, the Chicago defensive coordinator, the man on the right.
Spellman has been drawn off sides a lot this year,
and Warren Moon is good at it. He gives you a good hard count. Very noisy with it.
Jeff Christie, the center, didn't move.
Encroachment on a nose guard on the defense. That penalty is declined. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Headbutt. Number 90.
Well,
15 yards. First down.
They did see the headbutt. I wasn't sure if they saw it or not. It was right in front of everybody. There it is. Andrew Jordan, the tight end, just gives Spellman a little tap on the shoulder. You saw the umpire throw his hat. The reason he threw his hat is that he already thrown his flag for the encroachment penalty. He was running out of things to toss.
Could have been down to his shoes. No love lost between these teams.
Oh, the double whammy on Alonzo Spellman. Boy, you got to keep your cool. First quarter, big ball game on the road. Don't let your emotions get the better of you.
It marches Minnesota down to the Bears' 23-yard line with 6:59 left in a scoreless first quarter. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Lee in the backfield, and the pass is underthrown, intended for Jake Reed as Walt Harris came up for the coverage. 2nd down and 10.
That's the second time, Frank, working the left side of the field that there's either been an underthrown pass by Moon or a miscommunication.
What they do like to do down here, and they get in close inside the 25, they love to go to the fade routes to both Jake Reed, but more to Chris Carter over on the right side. When he sets out to the right, this time they move him to the left. But they love to send him on a fade route.
2nd and 10. Flags before the snap.
False start. Number 89. Offense moving prior to the snap. 5 yards. 2nd down.
Tight end Andrew Jordan sends them back to the 28-yard line, where it will now be 2nd down and 15.
Well, players are great with excuses. Andrew can tell them I'm woozy from the headbutt.
Well, tonight, only one other game in history has been played with quarterbacks age 38 or older. Phil Simms and Steve DeBerg had at it in 1993. Craig 38, Moon 39, and Warren, the ageless wonder, throws, and that's caught by Chris Carter, and he's tackled immediately by Donnell Wolford. And that'll set up a 3rd and long.
Certain key plays, they're moving Donnell around to take Chris Carter in a man-for-man situation. That's a real mismatch, at least in terms of size. But Donnell Wolford, as I said earlier, a good cover corner when he's healthy.
Well, when the Vikings put Reed and Carter to the same side of the field, the Bears' response is to bring both corners with them.
This is where they like to go to Carter.
3rd and 10 from the 23-yard line. Here come the Bears. Moon hangs in the pocket, and the throw at the 12-yard line is ruled incomplete. Chris Carter went down to get it, but it hits the AstroTurf. 4th down.
Carter was there, and Moon just delivered it a little low. Being very careful with it over the middle. Looking up and see if he can see the replay, and Carter almost had it, never did control it.
So it's a 41-yard field goal attempt to try to get Minnesota on the scoreboard here. Scott Sisson took over for the retired Fuad Revez with Mitch Berger to hold. 41-yard field goal attempt. And Sisson bangs it through with 5:53 left in the opening quarter. Minnesota takes the early lead. Vikings 3, Bears nothing.
This is Ford Escort. Did you know that it's new? If you knew that it's new, did you know the wagon's new too? The engine is new, the suspension improved. A safety cell protects but stays out of view. It's quieter inside to shush out the out. But for those who simply must twist and shout, there's premium speakers on a new stereo, so you can get every note and get it to go. This Escort is great. This Escort is nice. This Escort has a very sensible price. So why not check out the newest Escort this season? We've given you every rhyme and rhymed every reason.
Hi, got your pizza.
I didn't order a pizza.
You didn't order a pizzeria stuffed crust pizza?
Sure didn't.
It's baked fresh every day. Not too thick, not too thin. Just like pizzeria pizza. Tasty sauce and ring of cheese that's baked into the crust. It's just $8.99 for a large, but...
Oh, yeah, that's all right. Thanks a lot.
Discover Pizzeria Stuffed Crust Pizza.
Hi, got your pizza?
What pizza?
It's equal parts sweat and steel. It's decisions made in the split of a second. And pain endured for the length of a day. And at the finish, you're either toasting victory or getting set to do it all over again next week. It's auto racing, the way we do it on the Miller team.
You're invited to ABC's Halloween Bash Tuesday, but be on the lookout for... Is it Pirate Day again? A spooktacular Spin City on ABC Halloween Tuesday.
Beautiful shot of downtown Minneapolis on a beautiful late October night. Temperature today in the Twin Cities got up into the 50s. Lovely day. 3-0 Vikings as Mitch Berger kicks off. Bobby Ingram, rookie out of Penn State, from the 3-yard line. Good run back and tackled by the kicker, Berger, who knocks him down at the 40-yard line along with Pete Bursich. A 37-yard return. The aerial photography tonight provided by Goodyear. Spectacular architecture. The big office buildings illuminated in Minneapolis tonight. And 60,000 plus at the Metrodome at the edge of downtown.
A renaissance in the city over the past few years. All the major buildings connected by walkways. A return to downtown Minneapolis.
And that is much appreciated in the wintertime, is it not? First down at the 40-yard line. Dave Craig with Raymond Harris in the backfield now at running back. And Harris, who's been out for a month with a knee injury. In fact, he was scoped, picks up a yard. He was injured in the game against Minnesota earlier this season, which the Vikings won 20-14. Good matchup next week. For the only time this season on Monday night, the Denver Broncos, who are 7-1 and have the best record in the AFC, led by John Elway, take on the suddenly resurgent Raiders in Oakland. It's the first time Monday Night Football has been in Oakland since the early 80s. The Broncos and the Raiders next Monday night. Good AFC battle. 2nd and 9 from the 41-yard line. And a slant is dropped by Timpson. It's incomplete. The Vikings start to run it in, but it's incomplete. Wayne Washington with the coverage on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 9 up at the 41-yard line.
Craig and Timpson in sync with the blitz, but he just couldn't handle the football. There's a quick read of the blitz. Comes from the left side. Timpson is the hot receiver. Goes a little bit behind him, but one he should have caught.
Rashaan Salam on the right. Tony Carter is in the game. Raymond Harris out of the game. Sole setback is Carter on 3rd down and 9. And Craig moving to his left, throws and finds Timpson, this time for a first down at the 47-yard line, tackled by Dwayne Washington. Bears tonight with only 3 active wide receivers, Conway, Timpson, and Bobby Ingram, and Foge Fazio disturbed over that 3rd down conversion, the Minnesota defensive coordinator.
Dwayne Washington is right in Timpson's face, right with him. Timpson with a quick break to the inside and almost turns Washington around. Washington, good cover cornerback.
But he was not ready for that break to the inside by Timpson.
4.5 minutes to go in the quarter. Vikings on top 3-0. This a first down play. Craig buying time, throws, finds the open man. That's Curtis Conway, and he has a first down to the 34-yard line. Corey Fuller with the coverage. Curtis coming into the game, their leading receiver, averaging 13.3 yards per catch.
I think Craig and Moon both showing these defensive teams we may be old, but we can still move. This movement to the right by Craig caught the Minnesota defense by surprise, and a sharp break to the sideline by Curtis Conway. A very easy completion for the Bears. Craig broke contain, had all the time in the world. Conway was wide open.
First down at the 34-yard line. Vikes ahead 3-0. Raymond Harris Inside the 30, taken down at the 28-yard line by Dixon Edwards. So Harris coming back off the injury shelf, a guy who played at Ohio State, very much in the shadow of the running back on the other side of the field, Robert Smith.
The Bears really wanted to use him at fullback, even though he's a fine running back and playing running back tonight. But when Salam went down also, they had to move him to the running back position. They wanted to use Robert Green as a third down back. Green, a good receiver. Green has not come back from his knee surgery that he had earlier on. He probably won't be back for a couple more weeks. So the Bears really with a makeshift offense personnel-wise.
2nd and 4 from the 28-yard line. And Craig throws, and it's intended for Conway, who gets locked up with Corey Fuller. Incidental bumping, incomplete, 3rd down.
Corey Fuller almost intercepted that pass.
He thinks he should have. Had himself in good position. Conway, they're trying to just throw the little out to Conway at the fade, and it was underthrown actually, and Conway came back, and Fuller should have had it.
That ball hit Corey Fuller, a little overused, but that was right between the 2 and the 7. If that had been Velcro, it is stuck to his chest.
3rd down and 4, and it is Salam taking the pitch, and he's short of the first down of the 26-yard line. Tuaolo makes the tackle, and now the Bears will send in the field goal unit, and this means about a 43-yard attempt for the former Raider Jeff Jager, who was picked up a month ago.
Frank, you've run the football in this league a lot more than I. That is not what I would call a slashing running back. Salam just appears to me to be way too tentative.
He's trying. It's just not all there yet. Even though he maintains it is.
This is a 44-yard attempt for Jager. Todd Sauerbrunn holds it, and the kick is no good. It hooked to the left. Started out okay, and then went into the rough. 2:27 left in the first quarter in Minneapolis. Vikings 3, Bears nothing. Track to pick up a first down, came up a little short, and then Jager misses the field goal. So it's 3-0 Minnesota as they take over from the 35-yard line, 1st and 10. Now Robert Smith breaks a tackle, but that's enough to stop him in effect as Walt Harris popped him for a loss.
Talk about the sounds of the game. You could sure hear that hit all the way up here in the broadcast booth. First blow delivered by Walt Harris. He is a hard-hitting corner, and Robert Smith is limping. Robert Smith looked like he was walking a little gingerly on his way back to the Viking huddle, and they're taking him out of the ball game.
Smith, who's been injury prone in his years in the league, but has been durable this year, comes out at least for the moment. 2nd down and 13. Moon throws, and Reed makes a nice catch in the arms of Walt Harris, a little short of the first down. The 3rd down and 2 at the 43.
Well, what a couple of great targets on the outside. The 2 6'3" receivers for Warren Moon, and this was Jake Reed, top of your screen, and Walt Harris tends to lay off, and then as Dan pointed out earlier, is great closure, but when Warren Moon and Jake Reed are in sync, he's not going to get back to the football. Same thing on the other side with Chris Carter working against Donnell Wolford. They make great targets. They're hard to work through as a defensive back.
Ball spotted at the 44-yard line as the play clock is down to 2. 3rd down and a long one. And Moon throws, and it was tipped and incomplete. So the Vikings late in getting to the line, just do get the play off, and then it is tipped at the line of scrimmage and incomplete, and Moon upset.
Warren is saying what we were thinking. That was not how that play was designed. Bunching 4 receivers right over the middle. They were in a hurry to get rid of get the play off because they were running out of time. Certainly wasn't designed that way.
Alonzo Spellman got his hand on it. Mitch Berger to punt. His first kick tonight was 46, and back to receive Bobby Ingram. That's blocked, and what a block as it will roll into the end zone. Berger is able to knock it out of the end zone to save what might have been a Chicago touchdown. Kevin Minifield. And that was a big-time block.
It was not even close to not being blocked. Minifield read it perfectly. He read the snap perfectly. Nobody touched him.
Well, a lot of punts are blocked by coming off the corner. Minifield comes right up the middle, right off left guard. There is a major breakdown up front for the Bears in their protection of the punter. I mean, by the Vikings in their protection of the punter.
And all Berger can do at that point is think about saving 5 points, and that's what he does. It's a safety instead of a Chicago touchdown.
You see, Minifield timed that out beautifully. He didn't go where the punter was. He went where he knew the punter was going to meet the football. He timed that beautifully.
So Berger with good hustle, too, because you had 2 white shirts coming down, and if Chicago recovers, it's a TD. Instead, all Berger's thinking about is getting it out of the end zone, which he does.
A complete mental breakdown by the Vikings, though. Minifield unblocked. Gary Zahner, the special teams coach, right now an unhappy camper. You cannot give a guy a free run right up the middle. And a good look there at Danny Abramowitz, the Bears special teams coach. He's thrilled.
So it's 3-2. Minnesota after the safety, and now Minnesota with a free kick from the 20-yard line.
But Wednesday after the first inning.
I'll take my baseball wherever I can get it.
They're looking at the left leg of Robert Smith. Remember, he came out after the play on the far sideline. Looks like they've got a hold of his knee.
1:22 to go in the opening quarter. Mitch Berger sails one to the 27-yard line into the arms of Bobby Ingram, who shoves his own man out of the way and brings it back to the 42-yard line. Put a shove on Mike Fulkerson, and on the look now at Minifield's block.
He's the third guy from the top of your screen, and he comes right off left guard, and he's not even nudged by a Minnesota Viking. Untouched up the middle. A major gaffe by the Vikes.
But when he launched that leap, he launched to where he knew where the football was going to be.
That is the second punt that Berger has had blocked in the last 3 games.
Danny Abramowitz, very excitable. And thrilled over that one. Former New Orleans Saint. Did a little bit of everything down there.
Now on first down, this is Salam taking it up to the 49-yard line.
You know, everything about the Chicago Bears offensively is big. Big backs. Raymond Smith, 225 pounds. You've got Salam at 225 pounds. The offensive line, every one of them, 300 pounds and above. Keith Jennings at tight end, 275 pounds. They want to slam the football at you. They want to wear you down. And that is exactly the style of football the Vikings don't want to play.
2nd and 4 from the 48-yard line. And Salam gets taken down immediately. No room to roam. And Dixon Edwards, who came over from the Dallas Cowboys, makes the tackle.
That's Todd Berger, the normal starting right guard. He's got an injured groin. He's talking to Tony Wise on the right, the Bears offensive line coach. As Al mentioned at the top, the rookie Chris Valerio is starting. There he is. And boy, what an assignment he gets.
They like him, though.
They strap on John Randall.
They think down the line he is going to be a superb offensive lineman.
That is the end of the first quarter with a score of Minnesota 3, Chicago 2. And Monday Night Football continues after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Mini Moon. Free Halloween.
The real moon is inside this stadium.
Yes.
Number 1.
Start the second quarter with Tony Carter, the running back in this set. Chicago down by a point, and they convert here as Ryan Wetnight makes the catch. Al Michaels with Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, and Lynn Swann at the Metrodome as these two teams reach the halfway mark of the season, and Dennis Green trying to get his team to 6-2, keeping pace with Green Bay. Chicago trying to keep its hopes alive this season, 2-5, and Robert Smith with a knee injury, and they're trying to get him ready to come back.
Watch it right here. Watch his left knee right there. It gets caught underneath him. You can see when Marty Carter drags him down, that left leg was caught at a very awkward angle underneath Robert Smith. And we'll have to wait and see as to whether he's coming back.
First down from the 47-yard line. Craig jostled and is able to get it away, and it's incomplete. Fernando Smith put the heat on, and Fernando wants grounding as we take a look at the numbers through the first 15 minutes of play. Vikings on top by a score of 3-2, and it was that turnover, that Chicago interception by Thomas, that gave Minnesota the ball and led them to their field goal.
And of course the blocked punt gave the Bears their 2 points.
Minnesota no running game.
No.
-1 on the ground, and their running game has been very good this season with Robert Smith right now on the bench. 2nd and 10. Flags down. Salam picks up 4 pending the penalty. Derek Alexander may have come across.
He did come across. He didn't get back either, and so the Vikings are going to pick up 5 on this one.
They're going to pick up a -5.
And touch on the size offensively of the Bears, and really is a mismatch with the Vikings. They are
Both sides. Number 90, defense, 5 yards, 2nd down.
Alexander, as we mentioned, but the Vikings are really small at linebacker, and 3 new linebackers from a year ago. The heaviest one of about 240 in the middle, Jeff Brady, but they're very quick. There is the movement by Alexander.
2nd down 5 now from the 42. Craig throws, and it's Conway who slips a tackle, and Curtis is able to pick up a first down. He would have been stopped 3 yards short and winds up at the 36-yard line as Alexander got it into the offensive backfield and knocked Craig down.
Curtis Conway from your alma mater, Frank, USC, and it has been fun to watch him mature during his 4 years here in the NFL.
Well, the breakthrough year, of course, was last year, as you see Craig go down, but he has represented much of the positive that has been about the Chicago Bears offense this season. Turned into a real fine, outstanding receiver with a lot of speed. Former track star, he can really move.
Chicago having trouble getting correctly aligned, so the Bears have to burn a timeout with the Vikings on top 3-2. Now with Raymond Harris on first down from the 36-yard line, taking it to the 33. Gain of 3, 2nd down and 7. Dave Craig, when this season began, the Bears thought about him as the number 3 quarterback, the guy who'd hold the clipboard, because they had Eric Kramer. They picked up Steve Senstrom, a guy from Stanford they like a lot, but he now has a broken ankle. Kramer's on injured reserve, so the venerable one, Craig, and the backup quarterback is Shane Matthews, who'd been cut in training camp.
Stenstrom went down in the very first offensive play that he was in. So that meant that Craig was the man, and he hadn't worked that much.
And you saw Mark Butterfield, number 10. He's the number 3 quarterback. 2nd and 7, and Craig throws it underneath, and it's caught by the tight end Jennings at the 30-yard line for a minimal gain. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Dixon Edwards that time.
Keith Jennings
charging in.
Excuse me. Keith Jennings, another Bear that struggled through a first half of the season with a lot of injuries. He, for the first time, is getting healthy. Brian Wetnight, who plays behind him, and has been unable to practice, but he's been doing most of the work. And of course, Chris Gedney was lost to IR in the opening of the season against Dallas. So they've had trouble at the tight end position also.
3rd and 4 at the 29, early in the 2nd quarter. The Vikings leading 3-2. Not even close, as Tony Carter goes nowhere. So the running game bogging down on a 3rd and 4 call. No gain. And in comes Jeff Jager to try to give Chicago the lead on what will be about a 46-yard attempt.
Well, that must be what the Viking defensive line looked like to Tony Carter right there. They did a nice job of stuffing the Bear offensive line right at the point of attack.
Well, they're giving away about 20 pounds per man, too, Dan.
Boy, and there was nowhere to go.
Officially 47 yards. Sauer run to hold it. Jager, who missed one earlier, this time starts it out to the right, and it doesn't come back. He started one out down the middle that hooked wide left earlier. Starts this one out to the right, and it doesn't hook at all.
That thing actually looked like it sliced.
2 misses for Jager, and thus the Vikings still lead. Minnesota 3, Chicago 2.
There's an imaginative outfit. Guys, Rashaan Salam, and he has John Randall launching himself into him from behind. That's certainly going to be in the top 10 tonight, I think.
Salam hopes it's not a precursor. First down, and Moon under pressure and gets taken down for a loss by Al Fontenot. Moon was able to get back to the 36, so a 1-yard loss, but a Fontenot sack. And Corey Stringer gingerly gets back up.
Kenny Wolf, our producer, is passing along that Robert Smith has a sprained left knee, the running back for the Vikings. He's going to be reevaluated at halftime. Not good news. He is the Minnesota Vikings running game.
Well, he's had a injury checkered career and contract problems, and he missed 7 weeks a year ago with an ankle injury. Now we have a knee problem.
And this was the year, though, that appeared to this point in time he's been injury free. Coming into tonight's game, 693 yards, a 4.4 yards per carry average. A great start for Robert Smith. A real shame.
Meanwhile, Stringer out and Scott Dill comes in at tackle. And on 2nd and 11, Moon tries to set up the screen, and it's Amp Lee, and he gets taken down by Marty Carter, who's really done a nice job this season, the former Tampa Bay Buck, playing at a very high level in the secondary. And a look there at Corey Stringer, the second-year tackle out of Ohio State.
And probably the biggest man on the field tonight. That's Scott Dill, who's taking Stringer's spot at the right tackle spot. Corey listed at 353 pounds, and he's every bit of it.
Getting that left knee of his looked at.
3rd and 10. A little more than 10 minutes to play in the half, with Minnesota leading by a point, and Moon gets taken down at the 30-yard line. So 2 sacks on that series. John Theory, their top pick out of Alcorn State a couple of years ago, a guy who's been pretty quiet over the last couple of years, gets noisy here.
First it's Fontenot, and then Theory, who comes in for Fontenot on the pass rush, making the sack.
Yeah, John Theory is down here at the bottom of the screen working against Todd Stussy. He just pushes Stussy out of the way without a lot of resistance. Takes the shortest route to the quarterback, which is the inside move.
Theory's first sack of the year as Mitch Berger, who had the last punt block, gets set to kick here. Bobby Ingram back to receive it. Fair catch called for. At the 26, a 44-yard boot. So the Bears will take over at their 26, 9:39 to the half.
Well, we've got a fight.
A scramble and a fight back at the 20-yard line, with the Vikings on top by a score of 3-2. No flags have been thrown, but a good little scrape was going on back there with Mike Morris, the snapper, and Sean Harris, 2 special teamers.
Boy, it was quite a fracas for there to be no flag.
Nope. Post regional coverage at noon Eastern time Saturday, Nebraska, Oklahoma, then Michigan State, Michigan. Then at 3:30 Eastern and 12:30 in the West, you'll have those games headlined by Northwestern against Penn State, and for West Coast viewers, late 4 o'clock Pacific, San Diego State, San Jose State coming up. College football this Saturday right here on ABC. Minnesota leading 3-2. Chicago starts this drive from its 26-yard line, and Raymond Harris gets taken down on a knifing move by Orlando Thomas. John Randall also helped to break up the play, and Robert Griffith in there.
Griffith really comes shooting upfield. It's almost like he was in the Bears huddle getting that running play. This is what you might call run support. Raymond Harris having to deal with a safety 2 yards in his own backfield. They're not supposed to be there.
2nd and 11 from the 25-yard line. Blitz, they pick it up very nicely as Brady came through, and Conway makes the catch and takes it to the 43-yard line for a first down. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Miller Lite, American Light Lager gold medal winner at the 1996 World Beer Cup. Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services. And Nissan reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride.
Well, good effort by Craig to get that completion. He never saw it completed. He was buried by the blitz of Jeff Brady.
Conway's caught 4 for 47. First down Chicago at the 43. Dave Craig flips one out, and it's caught by Wet Knight, who dives for it, brings it in at the 46-yard line. Dave Craig at 38, Warren Moon at 39. Hardly what we would call your Generation X matchup. More like Generation X-Lax.
Well, I'm sure Warren and Dave will be thrilled to hear that they are Generation X.
Well, close.
That
X-ray.
That was quite an effort there by Wet Knight, getting his hands and then cradling it with his forearms as he went to the turf.
Second down and 7 from the 46-yard line. And Raymond Harris takes the ball to midfield and a little beyond, where it'll be third down and a long 2 as Robert Smith pensively observes from the bench. Chicago tonight, their first interception led to the field goal, and then 2 missed Jaeger field goals.
The only positive you can say is that they weren't 3 and outs. They at least picked up a first down each drive. That's all you can say.
Third and a long 2. Nice pass as Wet Knight, perfectly timed, turn around just as the ball got there and gets to the 43-yard line, where he's tackled by Griffith. Ron Turner making that call, the offensive coordinator on the left.
Craig once again just getting that ball off before he's hammered. But this is what the Bears want to do. They want to control the football, control the clock, move the chains, and this is what they're starting to do. It's the Vikings' worst nightmare for them to do this.
Well, it was a nice job of checking off and making the blitz adjustment.
A little late hit on Craig.
First down at the 43-yard line. Vikes leading 3-2, a little over 6 minutes to go in the half. Raymond Harris, flag is down to the 41-yard line, a gain of a couple. Tom White's crew calling the game.
All sides, nose guard, lined up in the neutral zone, 5 yards, first down.
Look at the nose guard right in the center's face.
The nose guard, by definition, is right across from the center. That's Jason Fisk, number 72. And when you see a helmet overlapping like that, pretty hard to not be offsides.
Pretty hard to be offside if you're a nose tackle.
You wonder, you're awfully close to the football to make a mistake.
First and 5, and Craig throws it too far for Wet Knight, who'd gotten free at the 15-yard line.
Ooh, there's a mistake by the quarterback. Oh, that hurts. Boy, you don't get that many shots at somebody that wide open.
Well, Dixon Edwards trying to cover the tight end. Edwards has a lot of speed, and he is quick for a linebacker, but he was tied up with Wet Knight. He was way behind, number 59. That's his man. And just off the fingertips.
Nice effort by Ryan going after the football.
Been playing all year with sore knees, unable to practice, but he shows up for the games, and I think Robert Smith is going to take it to the locker room.
Second and 5 from the 38-yard line, and that is caught at the 33-yard line by Michael Timpson, and that's very close to a first down. Stopped by Corey Fuller.
That's one of the better catches we'll see all night, I think.
He has a first down. And obviously Robert Smith probably taking some lip from somebody in the stands. I guess. Maybe he's acknowledging somebody he knows.
Well, hopefully they're not friends. He'd have better seats than that.
Yeah, I wouldn't assume it'd be family, but you never know. He might have someone up in the stand. Watch this catch. Running downfield and then having to turn and come backwards. That is just a sensational catch by Michael Timpson.
From the 33 now, here's Raymond Harris bulling his way for a gain of 4 to the 29-yard line. Meanwhile, Derek Alexander had limped off. And he is on the Viking sideline right now with Martin Harrison spelling him up front.
Well, we said at the top of the show the Vikings were relatively healthy, and there's Alexander. We saw Robert Smith head into the locker room, and Dennis Green, who was talking about how healthy they were after the bye week, all of a sudden he's got injury problems.
Alexander's had a really nice start to this ball game. Made a couple good plays already.
2nd and 7 at the 29. 4:20 to go in the half. Craig, and that's broken up on the far sideline at the 19-yard line. Intended for Conway, and Dwayne Washington with the coverage.
I don't know that a corner could have any better coverage on a wide receiver than Dwayne Washington had that time on Conway.
Well, he is a good cornerback, and he does get good position. Now in his 3rd year. Read Conway's eyes, looked back at the quarterback, and was right in the middle of it.
Alexander back on the field for the Vikings.
10th play of the drive coming up. 3rd down 7 from the 29-yard line, and a slant in, and that's Timpson who makes the catch, and they will spot the ball inside the 25, close to a 1st down.
I think they're going to go back to his first bounce.
Yep, right.
He hit the ground and then bounced forward where he ended up, and this looks like a good spot by the officials, bringing it back a yard or so.
Yep, and that's going to create a situation here with a 4th and 1 where they'll bring Jaeger, who's missed 2, into the game again. Jeff Jaeger has missed from 44 and 46.
Washington is in on the tackle.
See, right there, he's down by contact. The ball comes loose. He gets it back. But where he first landed on the ground, that was by contact. That's a good spot by the officiating crew.
They really won't be that close here.
No.
They'll bring it out as a formality. Meanwhile, speaking with Jaeger on the field before the game tonight, he said about 4 days ago he put the wrong contact lens solution into his eyes, and his eyes have been killing him. And I don't know that it's had anything to do with 2 misses tonight, but he is 0 for 2.
And actually better on natural grass than he is on turf.
That's unusual.
It sure is. 42-yard attempt to try to give Chicago the lead. Sauer run to hold. And this one is good. So he finds the range. He had missed left, he had missed right, and this one right down the middle. 3:41 to the half. It is 5-3 Chicago.
Pennzoil, the first motor oil to fully meet the tougher GF2 standard, presents Famous First.
In 1974, the NFL added a sudden death period to regular season games, but the initial overtime game ever played still ended in a tie. Finally, on November 10th, in the Battle of New York, played in the Yale Bowl in New Haven, Connecticut, the Jets beat the Giants, becoming the original team to win a regular season game in overtime.
The Jets win! The Jets win!
You didn't have to go in weekends, but you did. You didn't have to drive the team, but you did. You didn't need to volunteer, but you did. When you take pride in what you do, you always do more than you need to. That's how it is at Pennzoil. We didn't have to achieve the tougher GF2 motor oil performance standard ahead of its time, but we did.
Pennzoil, first to fully achieve the tougher 1997 GF2 performance standard.
Hey, what's up, man? All right.
Who is that?
Oh, man, check it out.
Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Stay cool.
It was a bad arrest.
If it's the wrong guy in the joint, he is supposed to come out.
An all-new blue.
Don't give me hope and just walk away like this.
ABC Tuesday, viewer discretion advised.
Aerial photography provided by Goodyear. A look at the Mississippi River, which flows through Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities.
I think it starts here in Minnesota.
Pretty close, yep. Up,
certainly one of Goodyear's smaller blimps.
Yes. The kickoff is taken in at the 9-yard line by Kadre Ismail.
Oh, fumble.
And he loses the football at the 26-yard line. And the Bears come away thinking they have recovered.
I guarantee whoever has it now won't be the guy that ends up with it.
Anthony Marshall was the man who forced the fumble. He supplied the hit on Ismail. All right, Tom White, what's the deal here? Minnesota football.
Minnesota recovery, first down.
Dennis Green telling us last night the Vikings have had a lot of trouble running back kicks this season. Another primary example.
Ishmael was spun right around on top of the ball that he had dropped.
Wow, that was a very fortunate bounce.
So now with Corey Stringer back in the game at tackle for the Vikings, it is Scotty Graham with Robert Smith gone, who goes next to nowhere. Dennis Green was telling us that he wants to get Graham more playing time, but late in the game. He's the guy who comes in after Smith softens up the defense and bowling balls the defensive unit. Now he's got to go to Graham a lot earlier.
The past couple of years he's filled in well when Smith has been hurt.
You can see he's sure-handed, to say the least. The most carries and handles of any active NFL running back without a fumble.
2nd and 9, and the pass errant intended for Chris Carter. Donnell Wolford for the coverage, and the crowd, a crowd that has not seen the Vikings lose a game in this stadium in a year and have a 5-2 mark with boos cascading.
They're a little restless.
Demanding? Is that a good way to describe them? They know that the Vikings have had trouble. What's a cheesehead doing here?
Risking his life.
A cheesehead in Minnesota, in Minneapolis there. Not a smart move.
It's an ersatz cheesehead. 3rd down and 10 from the 26-yard line. And no play. Illegal procedure against the Vikings movement. False start.
Moving prior to the snap. 82 offense, 5 yards, 3rd down.
Before I was distracted by a cheesehead, I think one of the reasons that they're so restless, it's that 10, 13, and 14 points, the offensive output in their last 3 games. They know this is a team that should be scoring a lot more points than that.
And the game is going just the way that Dennis Green did not want the game to go, and that is Chicago make it kind of bullying and ugly, and that's not the game he wants to play.
Slow down the pace of the game, and Chicago has certainly controlled the pace of the game to this point. 3rd down and 15. Moon slings it, and it is caught, but was it caught out of bounds or not? And it was. He was on the chalk. We have mics everywhere. Ismail hauled it in, but it's incomplete. 4th down, more booing, and in comes the punting unit.
Moon just a little late delivering the football. Ismail was open, just timed that poorly.
It was late, and it was low, and it was away, and the only way that Ismail could get a handle on it, you saw the ball was on the turf. Good call by the officiating crew.
So now Berger to kick it, and Ingram to run it back. Fair catch called for and made at the 41-yard line. And Chicago will take over there. Mentioned at the very outset tonight, the Bears coming in with a mark of 2-5, but if they can win here on the road against a division foe, the home play Tampa Bay next week, well, you don't know what can happen with this team, but they're going to have to eke out victories. They're not going to blow people away.
For Minnesota, they need win to stay one behind Green Bay, and as they look down the road for both these teams, the schedule is very difficult. They go out to that AFC West, and it's going to be tough times. And then Minnesota, December the 22nd in Green Bay.
Yep.
It's just when you look at these two football teams, the Minnesota Vikings are so much healthier and appear to have so many more weapons at their disposal. I can understand some frustration that they're not playing better football. With as many solid football players as they have, you'd think they would be operating at a little higher level.
That's been the frustration around here for quite some time. From the 42-yard line, it is Craig trying to get into the hands of Timpson, and that's incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Vikings last year were 8-8, missed the playoffs. Dennis Green now in his 5th season. Brian Billick, the offensive coordinator. Vikings have had success under Green, but it's a team that still has not won a playoff game since Dennis took over. Dave Wanstead's Bears have won 1 playoff game in his reign, and that was against Minnesota here a couple of years ago in a wild card game. Second down and 10 from the 42-yard line. Salam cuts it to the outside and gets it up to the 50-yard line for a gain of 8. It'll be 3rd and 2 with 2.5 minutes to play in the first half.
There's a good move by Rashaan Salam. Bouncing it to the outside, turning his shoulders upfield, banging in there for a couple extra yards. It has been a real feeling out process for Salam, who has just fought the injury bug. We were covering the game in late August when he got hurt his knee and his hamstring, missed the first 3 games of the year, and boy, it's just slow crawling your way back. Any type of a leg injury to a running back, tough to overcome.
2-minute warning.
4, 3. Hey, Jimmy, how's the leg?
Leg's just fine.
Doesn't look too good.
No pain at all.
The way you banged it up the other day?
No problem. The doctor gave me Tylenol. Extra strength.
Tylenol? For that kind of pain?
Just watch me, son.
For the pain of traumatic injuries, Tylenol is recommended the most by doctors.
Hey, Brad. How's my leg?
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
At Cigna, we care about people who have babies. We care about companies that make steel and about companies that make bread. We care about life and about all that makes life great or possible or just better. At Cigna, we care because it is our business to care. But we also care because, well, we have babies too. Cigna, a business of caring.
They say the 50s were the golden age of television. But today we can actually use our TVs to surf the internet. So we can go places we've always dreamed of going. Find out about almost anything. Hear things we've never heard before. Amazing.
Web TV from Philips Magnavox. The power of the internet now on your own television.
Here's tonight's Coca-Cola Red Zone fact. This season, the lowest touchdown percentage inside the red zone. Surprisingly, Pittsburgh having a good year, but they've been able to score a touchdown only 28.6% of the time. And the Bears and Vikings are next worst. Neither Chicago nor Minnesota has been in the red zone tonight. Stay tuned at the end of the game for the winning red zone number on 3rd and 2 with 2 minutes to play. In the first half, they convert as Timpson makes the catch at the 40-yard line for a Chicago first down.
Brings up the age-old statement, 'tis better to be in the red zone and fail than to never be in the red zone at all.
Absolutely.
Never have known the red zone.
Not even passing through the red zone.
Craig and Timpson really in sync there. Alfred Jackson, good coverage at the corner, but the timing was perfect between Craig and Timpson.
1:55 to the half. Bears 5, Vikings 3. Craig to Tony Carter, and he is banged down for a loss of 3 at the 41-yard line. Robert Griffith with the coverage. And shaken. Actually just retying his shoe and getting back in the game.
In all those years for Craig, he has a pretty good touchdown to interception ratio, and he's played with some pretty weak teams out of Seattle. He was there 12 years, a couple of years at Kansas City, and one at Detroit, one at Arizona. But he is a survivor. He's even survived his college. Milton, Wisconsin doesn't exist anymore.
2nd and 11 at the 40-yard line. Mike splits. Craig hangs in there, throws a duck, and it's caught by Timpson at the 22-yard line. Alfred Jackson with the coverage on the play. Wobbly dead duck, and it gets there for a first down.
Well, Jackson just got lost. That should never have been a completion, but Jackson got turned around on it, and Timpson moved to the outside, and Craig hung it up there. Timpson had all the time in the world, but Jackson got totally turned around. Here he comes back into the picture.
Bears take a timeout.
Dave Wannstedt, you saw him on the sideline there, was a little upset that it took so long for the Bears to call timeout. They wasted some seconds. We'll find out if they were precious seconds as we find out what happens to this drive, as they are on the verge of entering the red zone.
Yes, they are. They wasted a timeout in the first quarter as well, so they only have one left with a first down at the 22-yard line. Coach Fazio, a few years back, the head coach at the University of Pittsburgh, now the defensive coordinator, because Tony Dungy, who had been here for so many years, now, of course, is the head coach at Tampa Bay. No team this season in the NFL has gone through a first half with minus yardage on the ground, and the Vikings are right now at -1. No running game for Minnesota. And the Bears have found enough of one. From the 22-yard line, Craig on first down finds the open man, and it's Conway, and Conway takes it just inside the 1.
Well, they're in the red zone now. They're in the best part of the red zone.
They called timeout, but that was Conway coming across and crossing under Ryan Wetnight, the tight end. Almost a little screen by Wetnight.
And a superb job of blocking, Frank and Al, by the Bears offensive line. Look at this alley up the middle, that line of vision that they give Dave Craig.
Checking with New York at 5.
So it'll be first and goal. Timeout Chicago. They're last with 41 seconds remaining in the opening half.
Yeah, Heck and Perry and Fontenot and Valerio and Big Cat Williams, they just beautifully formed a pocket around Dave Craig. He had to complete it across the middle, not the tallest guy in the league, and the Red Sea just parted for him. Beautiful line of sight to Conway. Smallest guy up there is Andy Heck at 298 pounds. That's a pretty big guy to be junior.
First down and goal.
Now with no timeouts, if they run and don't get in, no time to dilly-dally for the Bears. They need to get up and get going.
Marcus Spears, an eligible receiver, number 76. He caught a touchdown pass 2 weeks ago. This time they keep it on the ground, and diving in for the touchdown is Salam. And a flag is down. At the goal line, a flag down. Head linesman making the call.
Offsides, nose tackle, defense. Line up in the neutral zone. The penalty is declined. Touchdown.
A good job by the Bears offensive line of controlling things up front, and nobody was in midair to meet Rashaan Salam. He leaves at the 2, and nobody from the Vikings got off the ground at all. You've got to have somebody in the air to try to meet Rashaan Salam as he comes over the top. Nobody was there. And we get the game's first touchdown.
Jaeger with a point after. That's the Bears' first rushing touchdown on the ground since the next to last week of last season. They were the only team in the league coming into tonight's game not to have scored a rushing touchdown this year.
The Bears offensive line beginning to take command of this game. They've been protecting Dave Craig, and they're opening big holes.
Chicago leads by 9. Let's get a word from New York and Chris Berman. Chris?
All right, Al, thank you. My goodness, a touchdown. Coming up on our Toyota Halftime Report, we look forward to your live chat with Cowboys head coach Barry Switzer. Big games yesterday, including a great job in the bewitching hour by the Patriots family. New England hosting Buffalo, 18-15 Bills, minute and a half to go. The block by Sam Gash. The touchdown by Curtis Martin, 21-18 Pats. Then Jim Kelly, screen pass, picked off by Willie McGinnis, lurching toward the end zone. 36-yard touchdown. Neat, sweet, petite. 28-25 New England. They're in a three-way tie for first, Al.
What was that? Neat, Sweet petite. Well, nothing, Chris, is petite about what the Chicago Bears are doing now to the Vikes. They are hammering this out, and I'm reminded what Denny Green told us last night. He would like this game to be a track meet, not a slugfest. Right now, the Bears are making it a slugfest.
And Sauerbrun's kick is fielded at the 14-yard line, but right near the sideline by Ismail, who gets upended at the 26-yard line. 35 seconds remaining, and the Vikings have 2 timeouts. Minnesota, a team that began the season with 4 consecutive wins. Then they lost to the Giants when the Giants were reeling. They beat Carolina by 2, and then they were knocked off by Tampa Bay in the Bucs' only win of the season.
Well, we all know what happens when you lose to the Giants and to Tampa.
Easy now.
More to come later. 1st and 10 on the 26-yard line. Ismail. Cadre saves some time by getting out of bounds up at the 37, and he moves the chains with 29 ticks now left in the first half.
Moon sending the big guys, Reed and Carter deep, and bringing Ismail under, hoping he can break something off. Could see something now very similar to what we saw on the right side, now over on the left side. Send the 2 big men deep, throw underneath.
Moon looking in that direction, waiting for somebody to spring free, and at the 44-yard line, it's intercepted. The Bears pick it off, and it is,
I think,
Mark Carrier comes away with a football.
The Carrier will be happy with that interception.
Well, he hasn't had one in a long time.
After that great rookie year, and every time you see a line about Carrier, not that he's not playing well, he's just not getting the interceptions he did as a rookie when he had 10 of them.
Well, he hasn't had any this year. He didn't have any in 1995. He had a pair of them in 94, and he finally gets off the snide with this pick right here.
Warren Moon just waited too long, gave Carrier the chance to step in front of Ismail. Timed that out beautifully.
And now Chicago in position again to try to get within field goal range. At least they have no timeouts. So Craig has to look for something that's going to gain about 15 or 20, or take 2 plays to gain the 15 or 20, because that picks up only a couple. Ryan Wetnight steps out of bounds.
And he has to limit himself to the sidelines or the end zone.
I don't think with 20 seconds he'd have to do that. He could throw something over the middle where they're giving him the middle, get up and spike the ball, and have a chance to get the field goal unit on the team. It'd be a risk.
It's iffy,
but it's 20 seconds. You could think that way.
It could take 6 or 7 seconds to actually execute the play. Could you get up there and spike it in 13 seconds? It'd be real close.
2nd down 7 from the 41-yard line. Looking sideline, throws, catch made, stepping out of bounds is Bobby Ingram. As you look at Jeff Jager, who's 1 for 3 tonight.
And he's hoping they put it down the field.
You got 17 seconds. You also have to think about a first down here as well. 3rd down and 5, because at the moment Jager would be kicking one from about 56 yards.
His career best is 54.
He's had 2 quick outs to the sideline. Not a bad time for maybe a little out and up. A little one pumper and maybe try to break a guy to the end zone.
3rd and 5, and Craig throws, and that's caught and out of bounds at the 28. A first down for Michael Timpson with 14 seconds. So Wannstedt looks at the clock, and Jager would attempt about a 46-yarder unless Chicago's going to run another play here, which they apparently will. And again, they'll have to work the sidelines.
Jackson playing that like he thought Timpson was going to fly into the end zone on him.
Well, when Timpson made his break to the sideline, Alfred Jackson just plain fell down.
Now you're to the point where you have to get out of bounds. 14 seconds left. Chicago up 12-3. No timeouts for the Bears. And Craig looking for the end zone and incomplete. And now Jaeger will come in and attempt a field goal from about 45 yards. So Jeff tonight missed from 44, missed from 46, and then made one from 41. So he's had 4 very similar kicks. Sauer run holds, 45-yard attempt. And that one is good, just got over. With 5 ticks left, a 44-yarder to put the Bears on top before this booing throng, 15-3.
Very heads-up play by Mark Carrier with the interception. Enables the Bears to put up another 3 points. And a ball that probably should not have been thrown by Warren Moon, scrambling out of the pocket. Thrown late. Carrier had a long read on it.
Can't imagine how good that interception must have felt to Mark Carrier. You're right, Frank. Everything that was ever said or written about him seemed to bring up the fact that it's been so long since he's had an interception. 3 times he's gone to the Pro Bowl. But that one has to rank right up there with some of his best ever in the feel-good category.
Coming up at the half, Chris will have the halftime highlights of some of yesterday's big games, and Barry Switzer will join us from Dallas, the coach of the Cowboys, whose team has now reeled off 4 consecutive wins. The Cowboys 5-3, and in 3 weeks we've got the Cowboys on Monday night against the Green Bay Packers from Texas Stadium. A little bouncing kick is fielded at the 20-yard line by Richard Brown, and he runs it back to the 32 as the half ends. And at the half, with boos ringing down in the Metrodome, it is Chicago 15, Minnesota 3, and we'll be back after this message from the National Football League and a word from our ABC stations.
I'm Mark Trimmer, tight end for the
Back in the Twin Cities, across the river in St. Paul, there's a look at the state capitol as we get set for the second half. And Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. Chrysler, exploring the new frontiers of automotive technology. What's new in your world? And Philips Magnavox, bringing the power of the internet to your own television. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, and Lynn Swan in the Metrodome, where the Vikings took an early 3-0 lead, and the Bears have responded with 15 consecutive points, and Chicago leads by 12. Mark Carrier had the interception near the end of the first half to add to Chicago's total and put the Vikings in a big hole as we start the second half.
And it does appear that Robert Smith will not be coming back to tonight's game. Sprained left knee. And he, in effect, is the running game for the Minnesota Vikings.
And their running game in the first half was non-existent.
Did it end up -1?
It did. -1. On 5 carries. Berger with a good kick. It's a yard deep in the end zone. Bobby Ingram up past the 20-yard line and goes down in a pile out at the 26-yard line. Take a look at some of the highlights through the first half. After Sisson had kicked the field goal to make the score 3-0. Minnesota took the early lead, and then Berger had Minifield come in and block that kick. And then Berger is able to save 5 points by sweeping the ball out of the end zone for a safety to make it Vikings 3 And the Bears 2, and then Rashaan Salam in Chicago's 8th game of the season scores their first rushing touchdown. Jeff Jager adds a couple of field goals. It's 15-3 as we start the third quarter. Chicago 1st and 10 up at the 26-yard line.
The first half ended with this big Bear offensive line really starting to assert themselves. It was a long first half for the Vikings defensively.
Dave Craig, fake toss, comes right, throws underneath, and it's a minimal gain. Ryan Wetnight is forced out of bounds by Griffith after a 3-yard pickup. And let's get an update from Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Al, just as you guys have mentioned how Dennis Green didn't want the Bears to dictate the style of play this evening, they have done that. He says to get it turned around, we've got to win on the offensive line, give Warren Moon some time to throw the football, and get the ball to the outside receivers. You're right about Robert Smith. He is not coming out. Dennis Green said it's either a severe sprain or a torn ligament. Says he's getting an X-ray as we speak, and we'll get an MRI tomorrow. Al?
Big difference between those two. Torn ligaments is conceivably season-ending at this point as Salam takes it up past the 30 and is out of bounds at the 32-yard line. John Randall is there on the coverage. Take a look at the numbers for the first half, and the one that will really stick out will be rushing yardage for Minnesota, negative, and Chicago able to pick up 48 plus 144 through the air.
And we're looking at a lot more than just this game when we discuss Robert Smith and his potential loss for a period of time to the Minnesota Vikings. So you cannot overstate that he is the Vikings rushing attack. He is the only back on their roster that is a 20 to 25 carry per game guy, and I don't know where they go running the football without Robert Smith.
3rd down and 4. Craig throws, and miscommunication and mistiming as Ingram runs him out, and the pass was far more to the inside. It'll be 4th down. And the other key stat through the first half, as James Williams comes off a little shakily, was the time of possession, with Chicago controlling the ball more than 20 minutes. And that, of course, is going to happen when the other team has no running game.
Minnesota's next possession is going to be a very telling one.
Flag down. Todd Sauerbrunn kicks. David Palmer calls for the fair catch at the 27-yard line, but a flag down on the snap.
That should be Minnesota. That would be an offside. That would be a first down for the Bears.
It was 4th and 4. All right, Tom White, what's the deal? No, ineligible man downfield. And illegal procedure as well against the Bears. 2 penalties, which is sort of very odd. I mean, since Dave Wannstedt took over, Chicago cumulatively has been by far the least penalized team in the National Football League. Very disciplined coach, and it's manifest by the way the Bears play.
And Minnesota right up there with the leaders.
The odd thing, though, is that it doesn't necessarily translate into victories.
Illegal formation, number 38, offense, not on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. Ineligible lineman downfield, number 26, kicking team, 5 yards, accepted, 4th down.
Fourth down. 4th down at the 27-yard line. Todd Sauerbrunn this time gets off a good high kick that's caught at the 29 by David Palmer. Working his way, flag goes down, as it almost always does when a guy runs about 30 yards laterally, and he's tackled at the 32.
Isn't that the truth? You can almost count on it. The longer that a guy runs parallel to the line of scrimmage, every step he takes, the higher the chances go that it's going to be some type of an illegal block.
Every move
Usually
you make,
in the back.
every step you take will be caught by Tom White's crew. I'll be watching you. And he's watching Minnesota, and that's going to push him back even more.
Well, he's stretched it out, try to get behind the picket line, and the people covering the punch, they have their back to the blockers, and somebody makes a mistake.
Block in the back, number 42, during the return, 10 yards, first down, timeout.
Called it against Harlan Barnett. And it sends him back to the 20-yard line. Another look as we go to the break with 13:15 left in the third.
And now from Paris, from Milan, from St. Louis.
Introducing a new look from Budweiser. Born on dating. It's the day your Bud was born, because fresh beer tastes better.
Nice label.
Thanks.
The good news is Little Caesar's Pizza by the Foot is big. That's also the bad news.
Hey, look out!
Pizza by the Foot. Nearly 3 feet of pizza and free Italian bread, just $10.99. Carried out or have it delivered. Pizza.
I heard someone say, what will they think of next? And I thought, how wonderful it is to imagine that someone is out there thinking of things. And that's their job, to think of something that no one has ever thought of. And all we have to do is wait and wonder, what will they think of next?
The Chrysler Cirrus, Concorde, and LHS, bringing what's next from the cab-forward engineering of Chrysler.
What do you get when you cross a high-quality conventional motor oil with an advanced formula synthetic? A revolutionary oil that protects better than regular oils, yet costs less than full synthetics. DuraBlend from Valvoline. Valvoline's the #1 choice of top mechanics.
Thursday at 8, 7 Central.
Oh, my God.
A killer earthquake hits L.A. The all-new High Incident, ABC Thursday.
Vikings start this drive from the 20-yard line, and it's where Scotty Graham picking up 3. And while we were in commercial, there was quite a scene going on the sideline between special teams coach Danny Abramowitz and that man, Marcus Spears. And here's a look on tape.
Danny upset about something. Marcus trying to explain. And here they are nose to nose.
And that altercation continued on for over a minute. On second down at 7. Moon throws. Reed makes the catch before he goes out of bounds at the 38-yard line.
What a classic toss by Warren Moon. He can still do it, but just with the arm, sprinting to the right, threw across his body and had enough on it to get the completion. Being pursued as he rolls out, goes on the dead run just with the arm. About 30 to 35 yards.
And again, we're back to that, reiterating what the bye week meant to Warren Moon. He certainly appears to be a much more comfortable quarterback on the move than he was prior to the bye.
That was Reed's 5th catch, and that was Chris Carter's 3rd catch up at the 43-yard line, make it the 44, a gain of 5.
That was Dennis said to Lynn Swan, we got to go to the outside receivers. That's what they've been doing.
Well, Warren Moon, as we can note here, no quarterback has started half his team's games in a year in which he's turned 40 or older, and Warren will be 40 in a couple of weeks. There have been others like Charlie Connolly and Sonny Jurgensen and Len Dawson and Vince Evans who started some games after the age of 40, but weren't the regular starters.
We were never sure about Charlie's age, though.
2nd and 3. Carter makes the catch, and no, they say, never had possession.
Well, he never had control. And that's, you know, I don't think that ball ever touched the ground, but that is a very alert job of officiating. Chris Carter never demonstrated that he had complete control of the football before he went out of bounds.
Chris getting a little frustrated. He's had a tough time handling the football the past few games. And you can see he never controlled that.
Yep.
Good call.
But the ball never touched the ground. In that sense, he did. He ultimately ended up with the reception. It's just he was well out of bounds when he did it.
3rd down and 3. Moon out of the gun. Going deep and caught by Padre Ismail to get Minnesota back into the game.
Donnell Wilford saying he was interfered with. No flag. A beautiful strike by Warren Moon.
54 yards.
And ooh, baby, did the Vikings need that.
And that's the first time tonight they converted on 3rd down. Did they ever?
Donnell missed last week's game with a pulled hamstring, trying to run stride for stride with Cadre, but no way. A beautifully thrown football. Not bad coverage when you're in single coverage with a speedster, but it was a perfect strike.
Scott Sisson for the extra point. .11:29 left in the 3rd. A 54-yarder Ishmael makes the score. Chicago 15, Minnesota 10.
Visa presents Inside the Numbers. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. It's only 6 pounds 7 ounces, but it can feel like the weight of the world. What is it? Stay tuned.
The legendary chalice of Malta has never come cheap. In 1238, it was captured by 10,000 Celts. In 1512, it took an entire armada. And in 1703, it took an arranged marriage to the daughter of Charles V, the older one. But luckily, if you want the golden chalice of Malta, all you need is the golden card of Visa, with extraordinary purchase power for extraordinary things. It's even mightier than the sword. Visa Gold, it's everywhere you want to be.
It's the Lombardi Trophy, and while it's a paltry 6 pounds 7 ounces, it takes a whole team to lift. And though it may require a career to achieve, it's a moment which lasts a lifetime.
What happens when you don't just make something? You invent something.
The Chrysler Cirrus LXI. Now receive $1,000 cash back. The Chrysler Cirrus. The difference between just making something and inventing something.
ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, brought to you by NASDAQ, providing vital investment information to America's individual investors.
Looking at the Metrodome, opened in the early 80s, serving as the home of the Minnesota Twins and the Vikings, and one of the few facilities in this country to have hosted both a Super Bowl and a World Series, joining the Los Angeles Coliseum and San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium.
I think it's also hosted an NCAA Final Four.
It has. They had the series, the Super Bowl, and the Final Four all within like a 16-month span.
And the World Game is for the International Special Olympics.
And right now hosting Monday Night Football with Minnesota back in the game, trailing by 5. And Bobby Ingram taking the kick at the 2-yard line. And back up to the 24-yard line, where Harlan Barnett makes the tackle. And it's a Dave Craig, who began the season as a guy who was going to carry the clipboard, or at least training camp. And now it's in his hands with Eric Kramer on injured reserve. So Kramer is done for the season. His contract is also up. There's been some speculation in Chicago that Kramer won't come back. Dave Wanstead said last night, we want him back.
And Kramer said he also wants to finish his career in Chicago.
Had a great year last year. Meanwhile, Craig, all of those seasons at Seattle, when he went to Kansas City, Detroit, last year at Arizona, started every game for the Cardinals, and now guiding the Bears this season from the 24. It is Rashaan Salaam, the Heisman Trophy winner from Colorado, picking up 3 up to the 27.
Dave Craig, I mentioned earlier, is a survivor because he has played for some not what you wouldn't say are really good football teams, and he has been beat up. He's been hammered around a little bit, and he's still got some incredibly impressive numbers that he's put together over the years. His 17th season, never seriously injured, which is kind of remarkable.
That he started all 16 games for Arizona last year is pretty remarkable. Took a pounding along the way.
2nd and 7 from the 27-yard line. Looking one way, goes the other way, and finds Keith Jennings, the tight end, who's been hurt, and he's finally back to 100% and playing almost every down tonight up to the 36-yard line for a first down.
Darryl Talley, the Minnesota linebacker who's trying to run with Jennings. The problem is getting Jennings down to the ground after he makes the catch. That is 275 pounds. And boy, when he gets that old motor working upfield, that's a lot to bring down. Of course, Darryl, no kid, his 14th year in the league. He's been to war lots of times.
10 minutes to go in the third quarter. Bears lead by 5. Through the middle for a gain of 2 goes Raymond Harris. The second down and 8 up at the 38-yard line. The Vikings will go into the AFC West for 4 consecutive weeks now. A weird schedule. They play Kansas City, Seattle, Oakland, and Denver over the next 4 weeks. And the Bears go home and play Tampa Bay next Sunday, and then they go to Denver.
Marcus still pleading his case over on the Chicago sideline. I think he's working his way up and down the sideline.
Second down and 8. Salam, no gain. It's Dixon Edwards, who came over from the Dallas Cowboys to make the stop.
One thing about Marcus Spears over there, and one thing about in the heat of a football game, you take a defensive lineman, say, and you bring the center, the guard, and the tackle over to the sideline and say, what did you see? You're liable to get 3 completely different descriptions from all 3 of those guys. It's really interesting to see how different people see different things. And then the coach will whip out the photograph, and you'll all go, oh, geez, I didn't see that.
3rd and 9 from the Chicago 37-yard line. And dropped by Curtis Conway. Blanket coverage would have been a first down. Dwayne Washington had him wrapped up.
Good coverage by Washington. He's really good he's a good cover man, no question about it. And a good football player. He has 4 touchdowns in 3 years, 3 on interceptions, 1 on a fumble return. He's a football player. Good coverage. You got the right hand in there. No way Conway could handle it.
Todd Sauerbrunn to kick. Low liner, end over end, caught by Palmer at the 29-yard line, looking for blocking. And David brings it back out to the 40 on an 11-yard run back after a 34-yard boot. 8:16 left, third quarter in Minneapolis. Chicago leads by 5.
If we all settled for good enough, would things ever be good enough?
The luxurious Chrysler LHS. Now get a lease for just $359 a month. The Chrysler LHS. This goes way beyond good enough.
Their goals are as basic as a first home, an education, a secure retirement. Yet they own over half of all the stock in America. They are individual investors, and for them nothing is more valuable than information. Today, NASDAQ is delivering news about companies, performance tracking, even timely stock quotes, instantly. So if you're an investor who seeks vital information, you now know where to find it.
Freshness hotline, what's the problem?
Man, my party is lame. I think I got some skunky beer.
Sir, relax. When was your beer born?
Born? What are you talking about?
It doesn't have a born-on date?
A what?
Do you have any Budweiser?
No, man, you gotta help me.
Okay, remain calm, sir. We're on our way.
New Born on Dating from Budweiser, because fresh beer tastes better.
Go! Sir, put down the skunky beer and slowly back away.
2 division rivals square off toe-to-toe when the Broncos meet the Raiders, a classic Monday night show.
Now here's tonight's Prudential Monday Night Football fact. The Vikings have 2 losses this season, one to the Giants, the other to Tampa Bay. And the fact is no team that has lost a game to either the Giants or Tampa Bay has ever won the Super Bowl at the end of that season. Not only that, No dome team has ever been to a Super Bowl. From the 39-yard line, Warren Moon to Amp Lee for a gain of 1 up to the 40. So the Vikings have a lot of things working against them as they try to work their way to New Orleans in January.
Of course, the Vikings have been to many Super Bowls. It's a dome team the season that you go to the Super Bowl. Of course, the Vikings went to 4 Super Bowls, but they played all their football then outdoors at old Metropolitan Stadium.
And that was really outdoors.
It was. But son of a gun, that place had charm.
Vikings came here in '82 as Moon throws, and Reed makes the catch and gets flung out of bounds after picking up the first down at the Chicago 46-yard line. So Jake continues to have a big night. That's 6 catches for 97 yards.
The Vikings kind of got away from this after they opened the game with it, and that is going to the outside. Dennis Green told Lynn on the way out that he wanted to go back to it, and that's what they're doing. These big receivers on the outside working against little cornerbacks is very effective.
Brian Billick, Dennis Green's offensive coordinator, coordinating from the sidelines. Majority of coordinators prefer to be up in the box. Minnesota's work from the sidelines.
First down, pump fake, and then hit from behind, loses the football, and the 142nd fumble of his career is recovered by Amp Lee. Alonzo Spellman forced the issue, and that's a huge loss all the way back to the 39-yard line by the time the Vikings come up with it.
Godzilla would have fumbled that. I mean, he was smacked from the back by Alonzo Spellman. He never saw him, so he made the contact.
Well, Spellman gets around the corner on Todd Stussy again at left tackle. And fortunately for the Vikings, that ball was booted far enough off to the side that Lee could cover.
14-yard loss on the play, 2nd and 24. Moon tries to get some of it back and does as he hits Jake Reed, makes his 7th catch, takes it to the 50 where it'll be 3rd down and 14. Mentioned that Moon had fumbled now 142 times, 2nd most in history to actually 145, and then Craig with 2 more at 147. But Dave tonight, fumble-less.
There's a guy who's on top of it. He's changing it on the fly.
Oh, that's great.
These guys, there's a guy that takes some pride in his statistics.
Elias Stadium.
Yep.
Credentials.
3rd down, 14. Moon to Lee, and Amp Lee threads his way for a first down. He needed 14 and got 16.
Beautiful piece of running.
Three Chicago Bears had Amp Lee in a position where they should have made the tackle, and he jumped inside all 3 of them to get upfield and get the first down.
Amp Lee does so much for this Viking football team. He did it to Dennis Green as a rookie with the 49ers, had about 150 yards rushing in 1 game, and that was enough for Dennis Green. He decided he wanted him, and he went out and got him.
From the 34-yard line, they work an end around to Amp Lee, but it's smelled out nicely by Brian Cox. The 2nd and long. Joe Kane running him down on the near side after the Vikings were able to turn a 2nd and 24 into a 3rd and 14 and then a subsequent first down. Shane Matthews just getting loose, I guess, on the Bears sideline. 2nd down and 11 from the 35. And Warren's pass is caught at the 23 by Jake Reed. And that should be enough for a first down.
And what those cornerbacks have to start thinking about now is when are they going to give me an out move and take it up? It'll come.
Well, if Walt Harris keeps giving him that type of a cushion, there's no need to do it.
We saw Walt Harris work against Deion Sanders the same way in our season opener. Sanders caught 7 or 8 passes, but he never was able to break one off.
3:45 to go in the third, and a whistle before the snap.
False start. Number 66, offense, moving prior to the snap. A 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, Dan, you talked about it at the top of the show tonight about Minnesota's propensity for penalties, and it's really killed them this year.
That time a false start called against John Jarrett, the right guard. And they came into this game 22 more penalties called against the Vikings than against their opponents. Through 7 games, obviously a little more than 3 a game. That's a killer.
First and 15. Moon going for 6, and that's incomplete. The coverage was perfect. Chris Carter back there, and Donnell Wolford, who was burned earlier for the Viking touchdown, had him step for step.
That's just what we talked about a few moments ago, and the Chicago Bears thinking right with the Vikings. They're going to give us a little out move by Carter. There it is. Donnell Wolford not going for it at all. He's got help in the middle by Carrier coming over. Good defense.
The crafty veteran. Not to be fooled.
9th play of the drive here. Second down, 15 from the 29. Moon, and that's dropped as he tried to jam it into Reed, but Reed was interfered with by Walt Harris.
I think Harris just tried to pull that arm off the ball. Maybe even got a finger in the mask.
It was a 2nd and 15. And about a 15-yard pass here.
Watch the head go down. Face mask, no question. The left hand coming up under, grabbing the mask.
That could be the 15-yard variety.
That's what they're discussing, Dan.
Personal foul.
Yeah.
Face mask. Number 27 defense. Grab the mask after the ball was touched. That's where there's no interference. At the distance, first down.
When it's the personal foul, that's the big variety. They're inside that range where it's half the distance to the goal line instead of the full 15 yards. Moves the ball inside the 15-yard line.
And gives them a first down at the 14.
Now this is the mismatch over the right side. Carter against Donnell Wolford.
Scotty Graham takes it to the 12-yard line. He's tackled by Vincent Smith with 3:15 to play in the 3rd quarter, and Christie gets into it for the moment. Bears on top 15-10. Bob Slowick, who came to the Bears along with Dave Wanstead. Dave was the defensive coordinator at Dallas before he got the job, and Slowick's been with him throughout his regime.
The guy that's been pretty quiet tonight, we haven't heard from a lot, is Brian Cox. Middle linebacker for the Bears, number 52 right there in the middle of your screen.
His accountant took it up with him this past week.
Yeah. 2nd and 8. And a delay of game penalty.
Warren under center.
Delay of game. Offense, 5 yards. Second down.
He didn't appear to be anywhere close to having that ball snapped. He seemed to be oblivious that the time had run out. You know, the plays can come in late. There can be so many different substitution packages, and that's what the Vikings are doing to themselves.
It's an old coach.
Halloween, not very far away. But another one of those penalties down here in the red zone that is injuring the Vikings' ability to score.
2nd down and 12. And Moon under pressure nearly lost it again. Holds on to it. as Jim Flanagan, who's come back from an injury, gets the sack and sends him back to the 30 and almost knocks them out of field goal range. Not quite.
They were down at the, they had a first down at the 14-yard line.
They can actually spot it at the 25, even though Warren went down at the 30.
Boy, Flanagan putting a bull rush on right into Warren's face.
Look how close Warren came to fumbling the football. Right there. Boy, good concentration by Moon. He's got Flanagan draped around his legs, and yet he's able to concentrate on that ball and clutch it back to his chest.
Flanagan with 2 sacks this season, each on Monday Night Football. Last year he scored a couple of touchdowns on Monday night. 3rd and 21, and that's behind Amp Lee.
And they dropped Warren again, and he might be hurt.
Moon with 2 injured ankles earlier this season, taking the time during the bye week to get healthy, and now slightly unhealthy. And Brad Johnson, who did a nice job filling in for Warren early in the season, begins to heat up.
Well, how quickly the bye week can disappear. A hit like this, ooh, and there you see Warren Moon's ankle gets caught a little bit under the right side of Jim Flanagan. Back-to-back pretty good hits put on Warren.
Sisson with a 43-yard attempt with Berger holding, and that kick is good. 43-yarder for Scott Sisson to draw the Vikes within 2. 1:55 left in the third. Chicago 15, Minnesota 13.